When a door shut, what was the scene you witnessed? Discovering it was the best possible outcome for well, we're delving further into today. The technique of reversing roles, rejection motivated by none other than imagine living in a world where everyone is stoic and peaceful, lifts you instead of pushing you down. Reply, rejection is a phrase that frequently makes you feel like you could tread on it. The road to greatness doesn't revolve around misleading destiny, but realizing that the universe can occasionally be hidden. Of course, you're up to something bigger. Feeling forgotten or disregarded diminished. It's time to change the course. We'll explore 13 strong lessons in this video. Courses that instruct you on how to utilize the rejection's power. We're not simply according to conversing theory, these are actual applicable situations. Globally applicable ideas that you can. Before we dive right in, let's ensure that as many people as possible are aware of this truth. Might press the button and make a sound. The YouTube notifications bell. It's evident that you find value in our "let's begin" now that we've shared transformational adventure as a group prepared to make the most of your rejections to become your wins first. Disregard them as well. 1. Give them the same disregard when life rejects you, and you feel like apathy doesn't go away. It only gets bigger. Above it, disregarding those who disregard you petty. Isn't that a strong declaration of imagine this person and your sense of worth? Determines that you are not worth their time. The decision they made is their loss, not yours. I am worth it, you're saying, not to engage essentially. It's similar to facing a mirror, them unconsciously mirroring their actions and demonstrating to them that you're unaffected right now. How can this be done without getting lost? When feeling resentful, concentrate on your life, your objectives, and your level of pleasure engaging in pursuits that enhance your life, mastering a new skill, or reading sports, simply taking pleasure in the company of people who I sincerely appreciated. This isn't a buying-getting, even with someone means taking them back. The places where you direct your energies relevant. When someone ignores you, it can hurt occasionally. However, rather than lingering in that suffering, us employ it as a growth-promoting catalyst to create a stronghold of dignity and let themselves to disregard it and dismiss it as nothing more than only managing to get beyond their rejection. Prospering, notwithstanding this strategy, demonstrates more than just emotional growth. Your inner power is evident in this. Recall that your worth never diminishes. Because someone is blind, be loyal to who you are and let your value you talk louder than they do with your actions. Don't respond emotionally in 2 sentences. 2. React rationally. The hurt of rejection can make you desire to respond to allow your feelings to flow freely, but introducing the Stoic's hidden weapon. Dramatic serenity. As soon as someone brushes, it's easy to let annoyance get to you. Or melancholy assumes command. A philosophy that still holds today is Stoicism. Provide a glimpse into ancient Greece. It advises taking an alternative route and adopting an "this isn't" a calm, considerate response. Repressing your emotions is a matter of about resisting their attempts to dominate you, while instead of being angry, you're ignored or trying to get approval. Back off. What is bothering you about this and why? The rejection itself is frequently not the problem. Still, our own wounded insecurities. We need to get here since it's the most sensible. You're not being given enough attention. Take a breath. Examine why this isn't the right time, precisely exact instant of defining you. Being stoic helps us to concentrate on our activities and reactions independent of others' conduct, so, if you could, be courteous and kind. If you want to get in touch, do it using sincere in your care. Do not anticipate this technique isn't about being docile. Rather, it's controlling your feelings is a key component. Realizing that you don't have any worth. Dependent on the acceptance of others, your power is not in the way others react, but in how you take care of you in a revolutionary way. Though difficult, this way of thinking is revolutionary once you achieve serenity. You're not simply a victim of rejection. Navigating a challenging circumstance, you're expanding and discovering that your inner no external factor can bring about peace. the quest toward validation, trust in oneself, where one learns to appreciate you. By performing this on your own, you demonstrate genuine grit, tenacity, and intuition. What gorgeous people those are! Like to gravitate toward confident people, those who hold strong through the initial symptom of apathy. So maintain your composure, you're thriving instead of just getting by. As you grow, you're learning to embrace rejection as a stepping stone. Stepping stone toward one's development. Method 3, Stoic Extraction 3. Don't think about them. When confronted with rejection. Using the detachment technique effectively. An effective weapon for your equipoise does not include ignoring or acting as though the rejection didn't hurt. Instead, it was about directing that encounter toward something. Transformational begins with the recognition. You feel the impact of rejection, yet don't allow it to act as a mental anchor. Expert navigator across choppy waters, using waves to guide you ahead, rather than overturn your vessel of rejection and transformation, needs to change the image's point of view. Rejection should not be seen as a barrier, but as a signage directing you to anew examine options and routes activities that lift your soul and increase your expands upon a book that participates in sports and tests, your thinking. It pushes your boundaries or offers assistance in a neighborhood endeavor that provides a novel from my viewpoint. These aren't merely. They serve as stepping stones to self-realization and development. With each new life shapes a piece of you, strengthening your resilience, greater flexible, and build a network of remain positive and surround yourself with kind people, whose words encourage and uplift you, firm is in line with your goals, and have a listen to these exchanges between them, produce in conditions that foster mutual growth. Keep in mind that rejection is not a reflection of you. A request for consideration of your value, reconstruct and rediscover who you are. You'll discover this when you travel this path formerly perceived as an agonizing. It turned out that rejection was a prod toward a greater satisfaction, as Path 4 illustrates Step 4. Show off your worth. Although it hurts to be rejected for who you are, furthermore, a gauge of your fortitude rather than crumbling beneath its burden, perspective it as an opportunity to show off your grit afterward. Whenever you entered a meeting as Sid or forgetting about a promotion, take a moment to relax as opposed to creating a self-pitying storm or hatred. Direct that energy toward work on a project that involves positive activity that showcases your abilities or extends a take the helm of a fresh project that has no worth reduced by mistake on the part of others. It's a chance to continue shining brighter. In the dim light of rejection, recall adage that goes, when one door closes, something else appears that isn't inactive. A conversation is an action plan. Being rejected does not represent who you are. Valuable. It's a diversion to your current location. Greater consideration if you're not selected for a role. Possibly the universe is urging you toward it. Toward something more in line, make use of your skills and interests. As a spark for reevaluating and reorienting, what are the main things you excel at? How can you change course to utilize them fully? About writing your success tale in which each obstacle serves as a return. This isn't a plastering project grin, instead of being disappointed, accepting all feelings in their entirety, and proceeding with grace after that. To be stoic means to concentrate on what we can direct our behavior and responses. When practice rejection is encountered, empathy for oneself as well as others. Perhaps the coworker who failed to notice you is confronting their fears. Increase knowledge without being weak. However, as proof of your growing strength from these encounters, consider them. Study and then rise from it like a phoenix, greater strength in the ashes of rejection and more astute than before rejection, hence is merely a twist, not the conclusion of your tale pushing you in the storyline to become the most genuine and robust variation of take a wise, introspective look at it. Between the ages and the youth's vitality, while you see how it changes from your best ally's worst fear in personal development and achievement. Number 5, ended communication with silence. 5. Break off dialogue. Is more than simply silence a strong weapon in your toolbox for managing emotions, especially while handling rejection picture being disregarded or mistreated. Down, your gut may tell you to make corrections. It to try and close the gap. However, this is where you change the narrative. Accept playing games is not the purpose of stillness. The goal is to reclaim your authority when you opt to remain silent and avoid bombarding through calls or emails. You're moving forward. Returning the favor, this break isn't only for them. To recalculate for you to recall your one's value is independent of, okay, let's investigate this quietly and more thoroughly. Not just strategic, but also active. Waiting is not what you're doing. This is the moment to grow and reflect. Return to your objectives, interests, and emotions. Regard life as a reset button, supplying you with power and clarity now, a non-contact interval that isn't chilly and sensitive. It's a limit you establish for yourself. Peace of mind means expressing respect for, I am too self-centered to pursue or plead this. The attitude is empowering rather than merely stoic. It conveys so much about your value as a person, and assurance eventually take into account that the world is receiving your silent message where it is anticipated that answers will be immediate. Your stillness can even be captivating, appealing, demonstrating that you're not readily. I am disturbed to learn that you lead a life full of interests and concerns above and beyond rejecting them. It's not about creating them, it's about having regrets or returning with a crawl. Demonstrating your firm center of gravity and not susceptible to outside approval. A change is not guaranteed by this strategy, but it guarantees a change in their conduct shift that strengthens you more focused and prepared to take on whatever with grace and poise 6 following suit 6. Disprove what they say. The technique of utilizing it takes more than just proof to reject someone. Convincing yourself that others are incorrect. The real question is, what can you do? Making rejection. Your motivation for progress. Suppose someone questions your talents in a particular task or skill. Your opportunity to hone that ability is now. Not to win their acceptance, but to outperform within your bounds, go deeply into education, put in a lot of practice, and arrive with a level of expertise that even you, I never realized you had this. This isn't a huge disclosure to those who are unsure about it. Build a castle of silence in silence. Expertise and confidence at this point, visualize the effects of your actions. Instead of using superfluous words, declare your goals or advancements so that others can results speak for themselves. If you're thought of as begin a project that lacks creativity, displays your inventiveness. If it's deemed indifferent, allow your dependable acts as your reaction to this quiet revolution isn't an obstacle to self-improvement, not a crusade, but an opposition to others' opinions. To achieve personal perfection, and when you modify the story that people tell about you, moves to the core of the matter being proved. Not altering their incorrect lies rather than changing your views. Imagine yourself on your voyage to enhancing oneself won't just astonish people while also redefining your acknowledgement of your talents. This goes beyond merely refuting their claims and demonstrating their errors. What do you consider to be right in this situation? When traveling, the biggest triumph is the recognition that the only source of validation, it's the one you offer that counts most. Go out and have fun, you 7. 7. Enjoy yourself by going out. The essential nature of life is most radiant. Upon venturing beyond our comfort zones, it takes more than just having joy to embrace it. It's a calculated step to develop fun toughness in the face of rejection. A common response is to retreat to stew amidst the sultry encounter. However, this is a twist counter that innate tendency by consciously looking for. Our happiness here isn't about disregarding your providing them with a fresh perspective on their feelings playground, whether it be for newbie exploration pastime or rekindling a previous passion. The perform itself becomes a declaration of rejection's weight, being defied being social beings. Humans have social enormous power when shared experiences you've had to use rejected. Keep in mind the worth of your tribe asks companions to accompany them on a trip or just share a public art project. These times of sharing during meals accomplish more. Instead of merely cheering you up, they establish your position once more in the fabric of interpersonal communication. Each chuckle, each swapped stories serve as a subliminal reminder that you are not just the accumulation of losses, you're a part of a more significant one that is narrative and depends on relationships and reciprocal resiliency. This is the enter. The unknown and true magic happens. Being rejected could seem like a closed door, but in practice, it opens up a lot more opportunities. Try a cuisine that you've never tried by going to locality you haven't visited, or take a workshop on a subject that you are unfamiliar with. These encounters with you are not limited to. There are chances for diversions. Expansion. Every new encounter adds layers to your personality, strengthening you more flexibility, greater empathy, and more capable of tackling life's be careful with curveballs. The objective isn't to, instead of dwelling on the rejection, learn from it. Utilizing everything you know as a springboard, 8 steps to a more vivid, richer life, improve your social standing, and picture yourself as enhance your standing in society. Overlooked, nearly undetectable in this room. With Stoicism, your secret opportunity shows us how to transform these instances of turn rejection into a motivators for individual progress, as opposed to validation-seeking promoting community and self-improvement participation. As this isn't about scaling ascend the social ladder, which involves individual ladder of activities for self-development as physical well-being. Pursuing interests, growing professionally, isn't only about activities, are your instruments for creating a think about your stronger, more robust self. Telling your story without seeking praise, however, for relevance. When you discuss your accomplishments and interests, please a conduit for locating like-minded folks. This isn't a plan to deal with your story. Garner supporters, but a genuine attempt to locate souls who share your interests by participating in networking and volunteering are not your things. Only putting lines on your CV, you're assembling a meaningful tapestry connections. This strategy is quite based on the Stoic school of thought. Self-improvement and involvement in the larger benefits are interwoven with increasing your standing in society. It is not a quest. The goal is paramount. The path to fame is one of ascent, evolving into a more positive self-image. There should be a step for every action you take, improving things and creating a cascading impact. It improves the community perspective. Shifting is essential, but it's not its significance. Lies in viewing developing oneself and assisting others as a result. Cultivating this Stoic attitude is an effective tool for navigating the current world. Creating a wave of acceptance despite rejection, a strong wave of optimism. The actors in transformation. 9. Pretend not to live in the presence of someone who. 9. Pretend they never happened. Sometimes the strongest person ignores you. It's not about the quiet answer, cold or petty. It's all about keeping your tranquility in mind. If anyone picks to ignore you, which you allowed them to spare no effort attempting to capture or start a dialogue with them. Shift your focus in a different direction. In a gathering of people, such as a party, imply approaching a person who is there. Your business initiates a dialogue. Realizing your worth is important. Doesn't take on the definition of another appreciation for the inevitable junctions where communication is required. With this, individual continues to professionalism, ensures that talks are kept to a minimum brief and free of any personal information depth. The goal here is not to reveal them. Putting yourself first means not if you're just talking business. Allowing unneeded drama to flourish is the attitude, indicating that I'm here for what's. It is crucial that this strategy not be used for the play, maintains your attention on what matters, maintaining your composure and being unflappable under utter apathy. Embrace it if the disregard persists. The ability to turn away does not equate to failure. It concerns a calculated retreat. realizing that you have more energy spent in relationships and other endeavors elsewhere. Activities you enjoy and that help you grow by opting out of a one-sided conversation. You're not merely passing through each individual, you're approaching more favorably. Possibilities for more healthful communication contributes to a calmer mental state. It's not a response to the apathy that a testimony to failure and a mirror of 10 provide your fortitude and dignity. They receive the tacit treatment selection 10. Deal with them quietly. When faced with apathy, keep quiet is about more than just winning. Concerning Stoicism and upholding your honor shows us to utilize quiet as a tool rather than a means, rather than as a means of inciting or manipulating with emotional and introspective purposes. Mastery in the moment when you are ignored by someone, let silence be your response, and let it remain so. A time frame of reflection. This is the moment to learn sorting through your emotions to ideas and want clarity. This isn't the concerning penalizing the other individual. It is concerning maintaining your inner tranquility in. There's a tremendous quietness here. It's not a chance for personal development. It's opening rather than closing Stoicism that is self-reliant, suggests we. Take a moment now to consider our characteristics, our ideals, and our desired. Take the opportunity to interact with the world. Think about why something bothers you. In what ways can I apply what I've learned? Develop. This kind of quiet is helpful rather than harmful, a chance to reaffirm your moral values and be sure to match your responses to your values. Hence, should you decide to stay, remain silent and make a deliberate decision. It's a philosophy based on wisdom and self-care. Decision to refrain from acting in certain ways that are beneath you, such as those who manipulate rather than retaliation or pettiness. It's adopting a Stoic attitude demands restraint and maintaining composure by deciding not to reply. It's not as simple as ignoring them. Listening to oneself intently. It is a method for keeping up with your quiet and attention to your own needs, undertaking and assuming the Stoic ideal of calm amid difficulty. 11:11. Refrain from begging for favors. Avoid begging for favors in the presence of the Stoic path of indifference. Does not begin. It is an appeal to anchor for attention. Self-worth and confidence in one's self-autonomy when you're ignored. That does not mean that you should execute the form. Conversely, it's an even louder glare chance to reflect and assert oneself inside. As Stoicism tells us, your values. We shouldn't let our self-worth swing in and out. Drawn in by other people's attention, maintaining a deep belief in yourself, understanding that there is no value talk about your passions, and participate in bargaining actions are driven by a strong sense of being independent, doesn't mean having to prove off to let somebody know what they're really lacking. Rather, it's about understanding you bring to the table, what you bring about taking part in fulfilling activities, establish connections with people who value you, and develop a way of living that brings you feeling proud isn't a passive gesture. Rather, it's a lively, full-bodied acceptance of your existence. What matters is putting a lot of effort into your personal, the necessity for development and contentment. When external validation wanes into meaninglessness, so instead of pursuing passing interest, investing in oneself, construct a happy life for yourself, regardless of how others interpret it. Allow your assurance and confidence to shine. Come from your own experience. Growth and success, not performance, display such Stoicism to an audience. The strategy goes beyond simply handling, overcoming rejection, is the key to concentrating on what is most important, your growth journey and satisfaction. You transform a rejection into a chance to bolster your determination and amplify your comprehension of self-worth. 12. Be respectful but sensitive. 12. Show kindness while maintaining emotional distance. Even when confronted with choosing to reply with apathy, kindness, but maintain your emotional sphere reinforced. Being chilly isn't the goal here, safeguarding your inner tranquility is the goal. It's not nice when someone disregards you. It is normal to feel offended or irritated. Stoicism, however, encourages us to say hello to such instances, devoid of emotional chaos. While maintaining emotional composure, show some love with a smile, a kind word, or I just wish you a happy day. But make sure you, without the burden of anticipating being kind, is not a purchase. Retaining emotional detachment is not sketching as more important than constructing walls. Lines that it is realizing that even though you are in charge, you have no control over how you act. Some retort that this separation isn't an indication of power rather than weakness and the deliberate decision to uphold one's dignity. Don't let the acts of others control you, maintaining your composure when you are implying that I decided not to be distant. Allow your apathy to throw me off balance. This strategy protects you in addition to, this road of clearance is enhanced by it. Compassionate behavior paired with emotions, the strong incarnation of detachment. A balance that permits Stoic wisdom to converse with grace while remaining still resolute in maintaining your emotional integrity. It's an indication of reverence for a testament to you, others, and to your discernment and comprehension of this, how you go through the not with resentment or pain after rejection nonetheless, with an unwavering sense of internal 13. Don't disclose serenity and dignity 13. Keep your difficulties to yourself. The difficulty you face when someone disregards you, the impulse to display your difficulties, but Stoicism can be overwhelming. Instructs us on how to keep up and calm is not about acting fake. It's internal. Everything is good. Adaptability, demonstrating you're not a fake, but unaffected, a real indication of internal stability. Maintain your current way of living as before, with vigor and resolve rather than a show for other people, but a demonstration of your power. This strategy doesn't entail downplaying feelings. Recognize them, but refrain from allowing. Let them lead your ship like the captain, and be your serenity and confidence controls. It's about having command over what you could, your deeds, your answers, and your behave in a way that carries on with you. Don't merely display confidence. Others of your power by serving as a reminder. Recognize it for what it is. A subtle but an effective technique to state that you're feeling good about oneself is unrelated to others' viewpoints, or basically by keeping your acts a secret, the attitude you're adopting in your struggle, the concept of emotional fortitude. It's not about keeping your feelings to yourself. Concerning handling them so that keeps you feeling respectable and with dignity, that serves as an example of knowledge and integrity, demonstrating your sense of groundedness, self-assured and unaffected by exterior circumstances. Your reaction in the face rejection is not limited to the global community. To observe it like a mirror reflecting your image, perseverance, and steadiness through our shared journey via reverses many curves and turns. Psychology, revealing 13 potent teachings about turning rejection into a tool to help you succeed. Keep in mind that your presence serves as a platform for resilience, as a teaching tool for Stoicism. Allowing us to access our inner power, I want to push you to use these observations in your life, accepting rejection as a disappointment, but as a spur to development and personal growth. I'm interested in hearing your tales of triumph. Click the subscribe button. Press the bell to receive notifications. Describe your journey in a comment below. Both your accomplishments and challenges. Type something if you're stuck for words. Resilience in the face of difficulty to demonstrate your completed hour session. Connectivity is what drives our community, leading us in the direction of knowledge, understanding, and most importantly, the skill of turning each turn and obstacle into a chance. So let's gaining proficiency in Stoic fortitude, staying together, stolid,